Hey everyone.
The meeting hasn't started yet. Somebody will address you soon.
No problem, no problem.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Please excuse the delay. I was running a bit late today, so thank you for your patience. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April meeting of the Housing and Human Services Committee. We do not have, actually, maybe we have quorum, let me check. Yes, I think we do. We do have quorum, yay! We do have quorum, so thank you.
I have one of those.
You like those?
Yes.
Oh, what is that?
Remarkable.
Children.
So I saw someone doing something like that, and I was like, I want to get it.
People distracted.
Or, you know.
You're distracting me. I'll forgive you. It's okay. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. So our usual agenda, we'll have our kind of welcome. We'll ask everyone to kindly go around and introduce themselves, and then we'll dive right into our agenda. I do just want to note that there is one typo on the agenda, which is agenda item C. That says New York City Department of Social Services. They were meant to present today, and unfortunately yesterday they said that they cannot, so we're hopefully they'll be able to join us for the May meeting. So we will not have a presentation from DSS, so just wanted to flag that. We do have Walter here from NYC Love Kitchen, and so we'll kind of give you some time to tell us more about the work that's happening there and how the committee can be helpful. And then our usual kind of monthly updates from elected representatives and CBOs, and then of course old business and new business and closing. So with that, maybe we'll turn it over to our colleagues online if they can go ahead and introduce themselves.
John Francis, first year on the board and first year part of the community board. First year on the committee and first year on the community board.
Nice to see you, John. I'm gonna fix the
There you go.
Okay, yeah, I was like, hold on. Here.
Hey, John Francis.
There we go. Now we can see. Okay, so the view that we were having was a bit weird. Okay, Marshall, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Marshall Vanderpool. I'm public member of the Housing and Human Services Committee, and I'm not really feeling right, so I'm gonna land my plane right here. Hope I can make it.
Feel better. Yes, we definitely want you to feel better. Get some rest. Hopefully, you feel better. And thank you for joining, even though you're not feeling well. So thank you. Indiana, nice to see you.
Hello, nice to see you, Indiana Porta. And I'm sorry I missed what the instructions were, but hello, I'm on this committee and also on land use.
That's exactly what the instructions were. So thank you.
And now that it's warming up, I hope to be able to attend in person next month. My wheelchair kind of freezes up in the cold, but I'll see you guys in person.
Amazing.
You do
We would
not
love
have to
see you.
explain, but we'll be happy when we see you in person.
That's right. And I just also want to acknowledge we do have one member of the public here, Melissa. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope you come back and engage in our conversation today. So thank you. Radia.
Hi, everybody. Here.
I don't know. I'm like.
My name is Radia Barnes. I am a lifelong Washington Heights resident. I also sit on the Business Development Committee, and I am closing out my first term.
Okay.
First terms are closing out soon, right?
I can't believe it's been like 2 years.
I know.
It's crazy.
Over to you,
Hey, y'all. I'm Tanisha. I sit on this committee, and I sit on the Youth and Education Committee, where I am vice chair, and I am second vice chair of the community board. Also closing out my second term.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm Marielle Ali, and I'm the chair of the Housing and Human Services. I've been on the community board for 5 years, and at the end, I think obviously the committee members know I sent a note earlier, but I'll kind of talk a little bit about that later. It's honestly been a complete honor to serve on the community board all of these years, so, yeah. I know. So with that, we'll turn it over to you, Walter. I didn't ask if you wanted to like present them a laptop or anything.
No, I don't think it's
slides.
necessary at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to be able to say thank you for allowing me to be able to join the meeting. I'm not sure where the camera is, but I see this thing just moving.
That's the
Because,
how.
yeah,
I always
somebody
forget if we
can
gotta
see
move
me.
here.
Take my hat off
Here,
so
let
they
me-
can see who I am a little better.
There.
Hello to everybody. I am the executive director of the New York City Love Kitchen, and we're a non-for-profit that has been in Upper Manhattan here in Inwood, serving Inwood, Washington Heights, northern part of Harlem, as a soup kitchen, pantry. We've done services in many different formats. I wanted just to introduce ourselves. And the reason why I'm here is I've been in the neighborhood myself. I've been here for over 40 years. And I've been serving in different capacities, whether it has been with youth, with faith, disaster chaplaincy, responding to difficulties. In these last 5 or 6 years, just before the pandemic, my efforts switched to running the non-for-profit that was being, transitioning, which is the one that I'm on right now. And I'm a person that loves this neighborhood. I love the upper part of Manhattan. I think it's one of the most beautiful neighborhoods. We have access to a lot of culture, great parks, great food, activity, but we do lack a lot of housing. And so basically what I did is I came up because in our neighborhood, we're on the corner of 204th Street and 9th Avenue. And we've been there in a building that was owned by, and it's owned by the Manhattan Bible Church, a local church for over 40 years. They recently sold their building, so they're doing redevelopment. Now because I've been in the neighborhood, I've gone and I've kind of like surfed this rezoning that has been happening in our city for 20, 30 years, even more. And I'm always concerned because the developers do provide the chatter that they're gonna have affordable housing. And when I came in back to the community board and asked Ebenezer, what's happening? Because I have people sign up, I have people telling me that they signed to the lottery, they talk to the, the politicians, but I don't see the masses going in and having affordable housing. And in my world, I study a lot of the different chronic problems that our residents or we who live in the neighborhoods make it struggle. So the number one problem is housing affordability. There's about 50% of salary. So on a new study released by the Rockwood Foundation, tracking the poverty in New York, they had mentioned that about 50% of anybody's salary is going to rent. That is, I used to quote people saying it was 1/3, now it's 50%. Are we kidding ourselves here? What are we doing with Manhattan? What are we doing with Upper Manhattan? We're letting everybody build all these big buildings, but the people that live here are being pushed out. They're no longer able to come. Our organization serves about 55,000 households in the neighborhood, providing food in a year. We are serving the majority of the vulnerable. We're talking about single mothers that are working mothers, the working poor, those with chronic diseases, the elderly, migrants, immigrants, asylum seekers, undocumented, whatever you want to call them, anybody that's hungry.
People on fixed incomes?
No, we don't fix incomes. We try.
Yeah, I said people on fixed
Yeah, on
income,
fixed
like people who
income.
get
Yeah.
like social security,
Correct.
disability,
Yeah.
because
And-
they get a little bit of money that they have to
Yes.
stretch all month.
Exactly. it's not enough.
And now we're seeing our federal government is making it even more difficult with some of the cutbacks that are happening. So I'm noticing a trend that at this moment, 2025, I would never thought I would be facing. Now, I'm aware that the world of development and housing also contains the landlords and the developers. So the other two groups of people, plus the city. And I am just trying to find my way so that I can bring others to the place that they could actually rent affordably. I just don't know where to go. So I'm here because I want to make sure that you guys know that as an organization that is on the pulse with hundreds, if not thousands of families that are attentive to us, they're telling us we are in trouble.
Mhm.
Now, you're aware that they can't afford the rent, so they're compiling, they're going behind. So one of the biggest problems they have, apart from the chronic diseases or the lack of good nutritious food, children not being able to be going to school because there are problems here, problems there. Now we also have rental problems and economic problems. So your hardship is also of your bills being piled up.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that causes, guess what? Palpitations of the heart.
Absolutely.
You know?
Health issues,
So I'm trying to
things, yeah.
alleviate something. I don't know what to do. So even now, we're working with HPD
Good.
directly to understand like the world of the asylum seekers and everybody being moved. We've been informed 54 shelters are being closed. People are being relocated. That affects us directly because we do serve about 250 families. And some of them are going far, far away. They're going all the way to Albany. So they're done. They're not coming back to New York. They're not gonna have the same services. But the ones that are staying, they cannot stay. They're trying to figure out how to stay. And if there's not a shelter, they can't stay.
So this is what I'm saying. If 54 shelters are closing, then where are they putting them people? Like, where are them people going? Like, how are you closing shelters without people getting direct access to housing?
They will be giving them a transitioning, but what's happened is that the city, as I've been informed, the city gave over the right from HPD to the Department of Homeless Services now to house people. So you know that we have a huge issue with the population of homelessness, which we deal with also. We love to help them and give them food, and we serve hot meals Monday to Fridays on that corner. We feed over 250 people a day that come to pick up meals. We wish we could serve more. We're the only soup kitchen right now serving 5 days a week, and from all the way from 145th Street to 225 in Manhattan. So there are soup kitchens that are serving one meal, but now you're saying as you were saying, I believe is Tanisha, right? All, if not some of the population of migrants and asylum seekers are going into the streets, some of them, because of the situation they find themselves. They don't have their paperwork, they can't work. So are you guys able to point me in the right direction of who is actually doing what they said they were going to do? What building, what developer, what organization, what nonprofit developer, what academic, whatever you guys have, I need to know.
I think we're still looking for the answers ourselves.
I mean,
I'm in trouble.
It's rough. So firstly, thank you, Walter, for joining us, and thank you for bringing these important issues. I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of what you just said. So many things to kind of unpick. One, I heard that you're connected with HPD. Good. I know they recently released a housing ambassadors training program. I think I shared it with the
Housing ambassador.
Yeah, I can forward it to you. They sent it, I think. I'm on their little newsletter that they have, and it's about, community members, organizations that work with people who are looking for housing, so on and so forth, to provide them with some trainings on it. Actually, yeah, this is it right here. And they have the next training April 29th from 10 to 2 p.m. and we'll make sure that I'll forward it to you, and then we'll also make sure that gets on the I'm forwarding it now, on the community board newsletter, so that people know that's there. That obviously doesn't solve everything. It's a training, and I'm very kind of just because we go doesn't mean all of these issues are solved. You're right. There is a housing affordability crisis, and I guess two things. One, you'll probably be aware that our community actually has the highest number of rent stabilized apartments. And so that's the other thing that our committee has been tracking, which is the rent guidelines board. So they started meeting last week. I couldn't watch it, I didn't have a chance to get around to watching it, but that's kind of the New York City body that, ultimately votes on what percentage in terms of the increase for rent stabilized apartments. I live in a rent stabilized apartment, so it impacts me, and I'm sure it impacts many of us here. Unfortunately, the current makeup of it's very much landlord heavy. So most of the representatives are representing landlord rights, and that's
mayor majority.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing, despite the outcries that people are saying, and experiencing real life issues, people getting evicted, people not able to, make the rent and, make hard choices about, do I pay the rent or, do I give my kids something to eat? These are real day things, and I know
Yeah.
you see this every day in your
Yeah,
work.
we're
It's,
seeing this.
they're not making the right decisions, you know what I mean? And so, that's one thing. So I'll also send you the links to that. I would recommend, I think it's important to see advocacy and have people show up to these meetings and the public hearings. Ultimately, the vote is with, you know, whatever they decide, and usually that vote is normally in May, when they have that kind of big vote. So I'll send you that. The other thing on the housing affordability bit, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, I think. I think one is, what kind of, development is it? Because we do have some developments that are 100% affordable. Then we get into the question about how much is affordable and
Yeah,
how is it
exactly.
really affordable? That's another
that's
question that we
another
can
question.
talk about. But you have buildings that are quote unquote affordable, 100% affordable, like the Eliza, where we have the new public library, up in Inwood. So that building
You mean the one that they just built on Broadway?
on Broadway,
That is
that,
100%.
all of the units are 100% affordable. Again, the affordable question is a different thing.
$2,800 a studio.
So that's where the
Are you kidding?
affordable thing, yeah, that's my
What
point.
the heck?
So the issue with that is, they're deemed affordable. You know, they're deemed affordable because they're not necessarily market rate. But the issue is that affordability, which is the area median income, it hasn't been updated in years, and it's based off of a federal number,
Yes.
and
I know
it's
that.
not specific to
To the rate,
to
the
the
cost of living of New York
actual,
City.
exactly. And it's
Regional index.
completely out of touch
Yeah,
with
with the reality of New
what the
York.
reality of New York.
Yeah, I understand.
And so there's this whole other thing around, how can we push, it's HUD, the federal agency, you know, to actually say, this needs to be reevaluated. This is not, you know, actually affordable for people. Like, I look at it, I'm like, whoa, that's definitely not affordable.
It's not at all.
It's crazy. And then you have other buildings where the developers have kind of sought certain tax incentives where some of the apartments are affordable, again, affordable, and then they have market rate. And I think you may recall, we had a developer come a while ago. I think it's the building on, was it Seaman or Nagel? Well, there's two new buildings up there. And they're like, oh yeah, we have affordable apartments. So we saw the AMI, I was like, that's not affordable. And then when they talked about the market rate, it was almost like $3,500 for like a studio. I was like, it's not the people in this neighborhood paying for that.
Yeah, they're
It's
not.
crazy.
We
It's-
had an experience
it's a
at one of the developers in 145th Street in Lenox, where we were invited to be able to help feed the community.
Mm-hmm,
But in that region, developers had purchased the whole line, they were
Yeah.
doing all this noise and things. We wanted to be able to come into the community and say, look, there is going to be a huge change.
yeah,
You gotta let people know, and especially your representatives,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is the biggest issue? How can I help communicate that to the people in our community?
yeah,
How can I let them know about where can they go, who they can call, who can they bug about, who can they
Yes.
advocate for, or if they need to sit down at meetings like this and just speak.
yes.
I wanna just motivate the people so that we can create a
100%.
noise a little bit and see if we can get the oil on the greasy wheel.
100%. So
Some way.
you're starting in the right place, you know? And so I think it's exactly, find those opportunities where members of the community can, you know, advocate and make their voices heard. Coming here to these meetings, right? We also have the general community meetings as well. Those are a little bit different because there's a public session and
Yeah.
those, the kind of statements are timed for 2 minutes. But this kind of in the committee
There's a
setting, you
little
can
more.
have a bit more
Yeah.
flexibility and a kind of a proper
Yeah.
discussion. It's meetings with our elected representatives, and I know, you know, our city council person, Carmen de la Rosa, her team, they're, you know, constantly working on these types of issues. She knows it's important, and I know they're working hard to make sure that kind of, you know, address some of these issues. It's engaging with a lot of organizations that are doing this work, so, for example, Met Council on Housing is a big one. There's, RENA, which is a, rental, it's like Riverside Edgecombe Neighborhood Association,
Yeah.
something like that. I
Like
know,
housing for all.
exactly, there's so many, and I can send you some of these things
I
as
would
well.
love to get that information.
For
yeah.
sure, for sure.
Mhm.
I know, a couple of weeks ago, some of the elected representatives got together and pulled together a housing clinic where it was kind of like, there were two. So there was one where it was like drop in if people have questions about, their rent or their lease or whatever the case may be. There were people there who could support them and kind of, ask questions and things. And then there was a separate one around, hey, did you know there's a couple of housing lotteries open? Obviously, those things are hit or miss, in terms of who actually gets it. I know they've tried to say, in some of them, like community preference, well, 50% will go to people in the community, or, and all of
That's
these
not what
things, but.
HPD said to me.
I
HPD said to me
understand
that it's completely random. It's like you go to a casino, you press, and you don't know what's coming
You don't know
out.
what's gonna come out.
That's what she told me, says that there's
Mhm.
no influence.
Mhm.
We had one particular migrant that we were asking to be able to see if we could relocate,
Mm.
and they already had their papers, they needed to get an apartment.
Yep.
And when we contacted the HPD, I'm hoping that it was in our neighborhood, they had to go apply in Brooklyn
Mm-hmm.
to an office in Brooklyn just to apply and get them on the line. And they thought they were going to actually a place where they could say, hey, these are the options.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was so discouraging, they didn't even want to do it anymore. They were like, I can't believe I traveled an hour and a half to get my name on a piece of paper.
On a piece of paper.
And they didn't
Mhm,
even
mhm.
have information.
Yep,
So,
yep.
any information you guys could share with me, I would want to say a commitment to you, as well as those that are listening. is I want to be able to utilize our position and our influence to communicate to the community that they have a voice.
Yes.
And that we could
Yes.
communicate that voice and amplify it.
Mhm.
And we should amplify it in all manners. So
Mhm.
any communication you are producing,
Mhm.
any of the meetings, please send that our way. We'll
Yep.
print out, we'll put in the bags, we'll communicate, we'll get
Amazing.
the thing moving. And if it is that they need to do some revisions to some of these individual developers, we might as well
Yeah.
find out where those true, correct, affordable units are.
Well, they're not just starting the budget right now.
Mhm.
It's
There you
budget
go.
season for
Yeah,
state
I know.
and city.
Yep.
Last year, our state budget was over $220 billion, would it be?
Yeah.
Last year, our, New York City, our city budget was over $120 billion with a B.
Yeah.
People choose what they wanna support and what they don't wanna support. I would like to also say that we have grown children, that are living in multi-generational households because they get grown, they do everything they're supposed to do and still can't afford to move out.
I realize that.
So there's a couple of things that I would tell you that definitely, like I said, it's budget season. So budget season, a lot of hearings are going on.
Yep.
You got your housing committee, you got your public housing committee, where, the chairs come there, the, chairs of the city council come there and have, oversight and, ask HPD, what are you doing? Ask HUD, like, what are y'all doing? Why is it that, there's no, things like that, but you also can offer public testimony. And now, in the new world that we live in, you can do it on Zoom. So, you could be going about your day, keeping one ear to what's going on and listening for your name, and all your other people, and have them go, that's one way. And you can also submit written testimony up to 72 hours after the hearing. There's a lot of going to Albany now.
Yep.
The budget was supposed to be done yesterday, but on the 1st, but it's never on time. So they're still, angling and this is a crucial moment to talk about how we live in the richest city in the world. And we got money for all other things, but not for our people. We gotta talk about taxing the rich. There's over 120 billionaires that live in New York State. There's over 700 multi-millionaires that live right here, but we pay more taxes than they do.
Yeah, no, that's how it is.
So, it's always gonna take the people to change something.
Yeah.
And I just hope that it's just really bad right now, especially with, the other forces and, a lot of our communities being scared to even go to anything official.
Yep.
Because of them people that shall not be named. I see India's hand up.
Yes, that's exactly.
Indiana, please, over to you.
Thank you. I agree with absolutely everything that was just said, and I would just also add that this is an election year locally. And
Absolutely.
so there's an opportunity there to really press all the mayoral candidates and, you know,
Mhm.
their officials on who's going to be the biggest advocate for us, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think that, like was mentioned earlier, the mayor gets to appoint who sits on the guidelines board, and you know, they decide where to prioritize funding, and are we going to build a police training facility, or are we going to build more, you know, housing, all of those
Mhm.
things, you know, without making any value judgments, right? There are decisions that these people make, and we have an opportunity right now in an election year to really push people and get commitments.
And I would say, you know, and our elected officials, like
100%.
Carmen's my homie, but this is business. And I think that it's really important that after this meeting, Chair, that we instruct our administrators to send a letter to our elected officials so that they can tell us what their plan is to make sure that we get more real affordable housing in our community. I mean, I think it's part of their job to come here and to talk to our community and tell us what you're planning on, what you're fighting on, like what aren't you voting for, what are you voting for, you know, because city council is supposed to be the ones to check the mayor.
Exactly.
They have a huge power that they hardly ever use, you know, to say no. The same way with the state, the assembly and the senators. They have a huge power to tell the governor no, because she's a big part of the problem as well. And I'll bring that up in new business. All these people about to lose their home attendants because she want to control everything. It's bad.
It's very bad.
So we got to be more in the street, and I think that we, you know, on the community board have to be more vocal about to our elected officials, and you know, and uplifting these issues and planning with them, you know, town halls and you know all kinds of things, because you know we keep being like okay, and people are suffering, and people, you know, if you don't have somewhere to lay your head, you ain't got nothing. You know, you can't think about school. Like, what about our children? You know, like
What is it? The 1 in 8 children that are homeless across our New York
Yes, we
City
see
public
that
school
we
system.
apart from us
That's
doing the food
heartbreaking.
distribution on the streets, we
It's
service
heartbreaking.
schools with supplemental groceries, and we know that in our schools, we have children that are in shelters, that are living in shelters. So imagine the compilement of the pressure. You're living in maybe what we call a bedroom, this is not even an apartment.
Yep.
They don't have refrigerators, they don't have stove, they cannot microwave, they cannot cook, everything is not permanent, it's movable. Mold is very, very inconsistent, it's wet. They come to school, they don't want to pay attention. They're out. They're
mental
they're
health
out.
issues.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so many things.
So we could advocate on both sides. Like we could advocate on the side of the people that we're serving. We could advocate with also communities of faith, communities that do social work, communities.
We need
have over
everyone on
47
board.
partners that
That's
can help
amazing.
us out, and so I would love to be, like I said, just maybe one of those individuals that allows the voice of others to be echoed in this type of meetings.
No, give us that email and we'll send you some stuff.
Also, as a
Yes.
In my personal capacity, I'm everywhere.
you do a lot
This is
of-
what I do. So I'll send you some stuff because we would love to have you, you know, advocate for, you know, I think it's so many things at the same time that people just really don't have time to even, but we gotta make time, because while we not making time, they are just going about their business. You understand what I'm saying? And then there's people on the
We're
ground,
suffering.
lived experience, live in the neighborhood, serving the people in the neighborhood, and understand how vital it is and how right now it is. Like, people can't wait. You know, that's why I was against the city of yes. You're talking about 15 years from now. We want to have 80,000 units, but we got 100,000, more than 100,000 people homeless right now. How does that make sense? So I spend a lot of time telling our elected officials that's dumb, and it's inequitable. You gotta start pushing them to make laws and policies that are accessible to everyone. So I'm with you. Thank you for coming.
I'm
Thank
glad to
you.
hear that you guys have an ear to listen.
No, for sure. And these spaces, I mean, they're meant to be for the community. So, just want to also kind of just emphasize the point that Indiana made. Election year,
Yeah.
I was actually just looking
They
now, it
all
looks
up.
like, I was looking just now, apparently, there's going to be one April 7th, a mayoral candidate forum on NYCHA.
Ooh, there's gonna be one on Saturday.
Mhm.
We at in PSPNY in Polo Grounds.
There we
Let's
go.
see who don't come. That will say a whole bunch.
That says a lot.
Paul
Yes.
Rouse is having a meeting there?
We Act and
We
Parents
Act.
Support and Parents New York and some other community-based organizations are hosting a mayor's forum in the Polo Grounds. We'll send it to you.
Send it, we can put it in the thing. Yeah, this one here, April 7th, mayoral candidate on NYCHA and family homelessness. We need people showing up. Monday, April 7th from 6 to 8. This is at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. This is just a quick Google search that I did. 509 West 38th Street. So they're gonna be talking about NYCHA, things around the
Who's leading that?
vouchers, sponsoring orgs, Family Homeless Coalition, National Public Housing Network. What's this? Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Can't read this other logo.
All right, well, you send that to me and I'll send this to you.
It says here confirmed candidates. Zelnor, Myri, Scott Stringer, Adrian Adams, Jessica Ramos, Whitney Tilson, and Michael Blake. As of right, when they posted this.
Okay.
So I'll make sure I'll send that around as
Thank
well.
you.
The other thing is, there's a think tank within NYU that I always send around to members of the committee, and their name is escaping me, because they do a lot of really good research, and they bring like really good speakers. The Furman Center, so it's the NYU Furman Center. They actually are doing something now. Let me see, I was just looking at it. So on April 21st, they are hosting a, looks like a policy breakfast, excuse me. And it's using faith-based land to expand housing supply. So to your point around, I know you mentioned that right now, where your organization is based, you're kind of renting out the space from Manhattan Bible Church. And that's one of the things that we have seen, because in many cases, places of worship, in most instances, actually own the land that they have. And we've been finding kind of some very interesting, sorry, someone raising their hand here. Some interesting, yeah.
Okay.
Melissa, thank you for raising your hand. I'll turn it over to you in a moment, 1 second. Where they are, working with developers so there's an example of the Rocky Mount Baptist Church, where there's a new development there.
I know about the story of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I know all the
So-
stories that are also kind of difficult to swallow, even our part. I'll share a little bit.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
pick up.
for sure. Yep. Melissa, thanks. Oh, hold on. Are you still
Yes.
interested in
Melissa,
speaking?
yes, allowed to talk, yes.
Sorry, I'm just making sure. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna unmute you. 1 moment. Okay, over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my name is
Thank you for
Melissa
joining.
Melissa Karpali. I'm a Rutgers University social work student, and one of my assignments were to attend a community meeting and just kind of get some insights on how it's related to social work. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's why I was here today, and I got some great information. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming, and don't make this kind of the last time. All of these meetings, not just ours, back to that point around getting involved in advocacy and knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
All of our meetings of the community board are open to the public. And because they are hybrid, they also kind of allow for that, extended kind of, they're accessible is what I'm trying to say. So please do continue to participate and join. Thank you.
They're also
Thank you.
having a community meeting here on Sunday.
Okay, yes. Is that on Zoom?
If they have a community need.
Yes, so all of the community board meetings are also on Zoom. You can go to the community board website, I don't know if maybe John or Indiana, if you guys, since you guys are online, we could just drop the link in the chat.
I can.
I can.
Thank you. And you'll be able to click on the links and kind of sign up for the meetings.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, thank
No
you. Oh yeah, I did see that one as well, the
There was
Community
a conversation I
hall.
had with another local congregation, a church that owns a building, 181st Collegiate Church, 181st
Oh, yeah,
and
before Washington.
For Washington.
I understand they're going
We
through
were
some stuff there.
contemplating the idea of having homeless shelter up in their gymnasium. One of the thoughts that we were thinking through, and to move one of our kitchens into their location. But one of the things that they're finding, the problem is that they can't sustain the cost of the equipment or the facilities, and these buildings are old.
Yeah,
So heating and cost, so he's asking quite a lot of money to be able to even just go there. So apart from
Yeah.
the individuals being pushed out, what we're seeing is also like those that service the poor or the vulnerable are being pushed out of Manhattan as well.
Yep.
Part of that is also having to with the redevelopment.
Yeah.
We're in a place where we're looking for space because the building that we were in was sold and is being redeveloped. So I'm thinking through, and I know that this
Yeah.
is something that is on your minds all the time, but I do want to be able to advocate as much as we can. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for
And
coming.
if you guys want me to do any presentations later on, that'd be awesome too. But
Yes.
at this
yes.
moment, I want to share with you the times that we do service.
Please, thank
You
you.
guys can have a copy of that.
Awesome.
It is on
Really
our
good,
website,
thank
it's
you.
open to anybody.
Amazing.
Obviously,
Make sure we get this on
our
the newsletter,
supplies are very limited,
Yeah.
but
We know.
we try to do what we can.
We do what we can. That's what, listen, that's all, everybody just do what they can, you know? If everybody just did what they could, it would be
It would be
a
better than
wonderful,
we're
wonderful, wonderful community.
It's a lot, it's a lot. Just a question,
Yeah,
Walter,
tell me.
are you connected with, the West Side Campaign Against Hunger?
We're
Or you kind of receive
conversating with them, yeah, no,
Okay.
we don't receive food from them.
Okay.
We try to do a pilot with them in the
Okay.
beginning because they moved from Upper West
Yeah,
Side.
that one, mhm.
At
And
that big, huge.
they weren't
we've been
able
there.
to really manage it. What we found out
Okay.
is that the community, the clients do not believe that they're gonna get food in Upper Manhattan. So they still will travel down to 82nd. So even though they would give us a list and tell them that they could come pick up on 200th Street in Dykeman, they were like, they
Really?
wouldn't show up. So we attempted it for like 2 months.
Oh.
And then Wisca just said, let's not do it, let's figure out another way. So I know Greg well, and I
Yeah.
know the people there. And you know, they're partners in the same
Yeah,
world
Same kind
of
of work, yeah.
you know,
Mhm,
health and food insecurity that we're in.
Wow.
I'm aware of them. So they're doing a great job distributing food. They have other partners. We work also with POTS, Common Pantry, and Food Bank for New York, New York City, City Harvest. I mean, there are so many.
So many, yeah.
And others are popping up because of the same trend that you are seeing with the housing, we're seeing with the food as well. Which means that the food is not affordable, food is scarce.
What?
Yeah, and
Go to the
prices
store
have
and
gone
get
up.
2.5 bags for
Let
$100.
me just say this, it's the easiest.
It ain't even good food.
Finally, the question is asked and the answer is
Town is
easy,
hard.
which is which came first, the chicken or the egg? Obviously the chicken, because the egg is too expensive.
Yes, it's selling eggs at the bodega, honey.
We're laughing at the problem we have.
Listen, you know. We get creative when we got to, you know, to
It's,
survive,
it's a
but it
situation.
shouldn't be
It
a
shouldn't be this
survive mentality. You understand? Because there is enough here for everyone in abundance, you
It
know,
is,
which
it
is
is.
very frustrating, you know? But we work on it.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
gonna
Yeah, no,
make
take a
sure
picture of that.
Thank you.
Make sure we get it too. Do you accept volunteers and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that as well? I
So
wanted to
that's
ask
on our
about that as
website,
well.
that you can go
Okay.
onto the website and sign on the website. We don't accept volunteers that arrive on the same day, we have to vet
Correct,
volunteers.
certainly, yeah.
So they
Absolutely.
do, and the volunteers could be of different ages. We do
Mhm.
have teenagers, we
Nice.
have adolescent, college, adults,
Mhm.
seniors.
Mhm,
We do welcome sometimes children,
mhm.
but it would have to be on a special prepared activity.
Yeah.
So not necessarily every single activity.
Correct.
Where the parents should be there, or the
Yep.
guardians should be with the child, and
Yep.
they can actually volunteer as well.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think we need to
that's
start doing with our children early.
It's always good to
100
just
Showing them how to be
Yes.
like be human.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. If you go to our website, you'll see the
Capitalistic
photos of
system
us just
feeling.
with families are serving others, and also the cultural, what would you say that our volunteers do have the ability to be cross-cultural and interracial, so they're not only interdenominational, I mean, generational and multi-generational, but it's also different races, and it's beautiful. And they take ownership of their neighborhood, which is what I love, that they clean, they sweep the streets, they
Yeah.
clean up after we go, they save our spots for the parking and everything. So it's a wonderful thing, and I just wanna, again, say, this is why we wanna stay in this neighborhood, live in this neighborhood. I don't wanna go downtown, I don't wanna go to Brooklyn or Queens, right? I wanna stay up here, you
Yeah.
know? So hopefully we can make
Hopefully
it
you can
happen.
find, hopefully you can find a space, and I just wanna highlight the point you mentioned, because like you said, it's not just people, our
Just people,
families,
yeah.
but you're not the first organization to
No.
tell us, look, our place has been sold, or, we're trying
Isn't
to
it
find a
crazy?
place. There's so many organizations doing amazing work.
And the landlords are keeping the rents up here, the cost per square foot. So
Mhm.
it's just not affordable.
Crazy.
There's a lot
$50
of
a square
organizations
foot.
that don't have brick and mortar,
No, no,
because they just have to do what they have to
You
do.
could rent this, it was
Crazy.
one time. Empire State Building was $55 a square foot, and I looked up here and it was $50 a square foot. I'm thinking, what? This is nuts. What are they thinking? What? And how can they afford to keep their buildings empty? I'm like, I have no idea.
It's nuts. I know, I guess, two things, because we talked about these
Yeah, Manhattan
complexes and
President.
things like that. That's part of it too. But, the developments, one of the big pushes that has come out of it is the need for more community spaces. So I think it was last year that we had, there was a whole process around, creating a request for proposals for the site on 4095 9th Avenue, so it's gonna be a new development over there. And we worked closely with, HPD, and they had a couple of, I don't know if you participated, I think you did, yeah. Kind of like community workshops and things like that, and they had like a visioning map, and they're saying, if you had like a magic wand, what would you want to be in this building? And a lot of the things that were coming out of community spaces,
But we don't want just
childcare center,
regular community space. You want like a technological,
exactly, STEM came up a lot.
self-sustaining,
Mhm.
solar panel,
All these things.
hydroponics, digital
You gotta think
library,
big.
offices
You've
for
been around a
community-based
while.
organizations.
Big,
Yeah, we
you
don't
know?
want no just stank ass community. I'm sorry. We don't want no community, space that ain't nothing in there. Like
Right.
I
enter
might
the
not
door
look
and you're
it,
like,
but
what do I
we've
play
been
with?
there. No.
This is the notion. So there are nonprofits that are serving our community, and they're just are scattered,
Yeah.
and the population, our residents, don't know where they are. So one of the things that we're envisioning now, this is, I'm not taking too much time, but we're building, our reason for now, not just, we've outgrown our capacity in the space that we're in, but we're building a nutrition and wealth center. One of the things that I've said, I've been here for so long, that the students, young people, don't have enough activities or jobs over the
They
summer.
don't.
And then they get
That's
into
a whole
trouble.
other
Because it's
issue,
only
yep.
like, so summer youth,
The summer
it's
youth.
only like 100,000,
Not everyone gets it.
120,000
Not
students.
Yeah.
We have almost 1 million students
Oh, yeah.
in our school system, and a lot of them are older students,
And they
right?
don't
And they
want
don't
to
got
work.
nothing to do.
Correct.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we do hire from
SYP.
summer youth employment programs.
Mhm.
We have about, we take usually 10 to 15.
Oh.
But what we would love to do is in the spaces that we're going into, we have a space that we're looking at and trying to figure out. We want to build what you were mentioning, just a place where you walk in and you go,
Wow.
wow, this is like a second home for me. you
Yeah.
know? Moms, fathers,
mhm,
people can come in and exchange recipes, do a community kitchen.
A community
They could do,
kitchen.
imagine, instead of coming to a community meeting, you have 20 families come in and have a communal meeting, meal.
Mhm.
So some community member cooks and then
You share
showcases
that.
everything, but they don't have to pay for the food, because we
Mhm.
provide the food, the space, and the table.
Mhm.
And on top of that, we're doing programs for the children. So we do,
Mhm.
for example, mentoring, do arts, crafts, things like that.
That's
Kids can do
right.
activities. It'll be a place, I need you to be able to say, hey, we want this. This is something I'm trying to advocate and trying to get everybody to think. Because in our neighborhood, I've seen the lack of community centers. The one that I know, and I don't think that they use it as much, is right where you guys were talking about this meeting coming in the polo grounds. There is the Boys and Girls Club, right, on 150.
Right there.
But if you did not live in that neighborhood, you would never know
No,
it
it's not
exists.
used up
It's not
here.
used.
Yeah, because we all live in our
We
separate
live in
silos
our
of
things.
communities,
Yep.
and the
Exactly.
pockets are too far in between of where the resources are.
Exactly.
We know.
So that's one of the reasons I saw that area and I said, oh my goodness, and they told me the kids on the top don't come to the ones on the bottom because they get jumped or they're not in the neighborhood, you know, and it's
Yeah,
just like,
it's very hard for
but they have an
yeah.
empty, literally they have a recording studio, basketball court, soccer court,
Wow.
Yeah.
music,
Boys
they
and Girls
have
Club right
arts,
there.
dance rooms, they have, and I'm just was blown away. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
if I could take this little building and move
Bring it
Over
uptown.
here.
A couple of them.
Right,
Anyways,
and put them around. A couple
those are
things.
the areas.
No, thank you. So, two things that you talked about. First, on the community kitchen, reminds me of the organization. What is it? Is it World Central Kitchen?
Oh, the World Kitchen.
The
yeah.
World Kitchen. There we go. Where
Yeah.
it's exactly that.
Yeah,
It's
they
you
do
kind
that.
of people bringing
Yeah.
meals together, and how do we talk about tough issues over meals and bring communities together, especially in such a hard time? So really,
Correct.
I love that.
People talk about when it's good food, and they feel
Exactly.
people just want to know that you care.
That's it.
You
That's
know,
it.
and a lot of times when we don't let people know that we care, or people feel that they don't, that just society doesn't care, or that they're invisible, like they act as such, so
Yeah.
it's important.
And the other thing I wanted to mention to you, I'm just trying to find the email. There is they recently created a family enrichment center here in Washington Heights and Inwood. It's in the George Washington bus terminal. I know there was some delays to kind of pulling it together and stuff. They had like some construction
open?
issues. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I can't remember. They were
They're
supposed
about
to open.
It's gonna open.
I need to figure out, yeah, because they came
some
across.
permitting issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to connect you with them as well, because
I will love
a
it.
lot of what they are kind of really pushing forward is a very similar idea. Like, can we have a space in the community that's open, that people can come to, have events, do different things, all of that, and it's right on 175th in the bus terminal, so
Yeah.
I'll make sure to connect you
I
with
can't
them.
wait till they open. I'm
That'll-
going right up.
They showed some pictures of like how they're gonna decorate and stuff.
I'm
It's
going
really
right up there.
nice. They were even doing, what I really liked, they were doing like a community poll around, let's pick the name for our
Yeah.
center. So very much like grassroots, really kind of really people-centered type approach.
Mhm.
To
Yeah.
say, make this your own space. How do you want your space to look like? And I think that's really important. We don't see that enough, so.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of things that are funded by ACS, but they've been working on me, and they're everywhere, and everywhere I see them, they're always giving out resources. They're always talking about something. We done did a couple of events with them. They had the mammogram uptown. They had the Mother's Day thing uptown, which was cute. Yeah, so I'm really excited about what that could mean for our community, but also we need others
We need
that
more,
are
exactly.
individually, independently
Yeah.
for the community. I feel like that's something that the community board, our stuff like, why don't we have a community board, so why doesn't a community board have like a community space where we can host the community and do all of the things that we're talking about? Maybe that's what we need to fight for. More funding,
Yes. Indiana?
right, John?
John is, yes.
I agree, more funding too. One of the things I was gonna say is, it's maybe a
Go
little bit
ahead.
controversial, but we have like community plans and agreements and things with institutions like Columbia. And now I understand.
Can
no,
we get a community space from them? You think we can make them build us one? All of this stuff going up around here?
No, but that's what I'm saying is like, let's put a little bit of pressure right now to make sure that they uphold the agreements that they've entered into and to see how else they might be able to support our community.
We want a community space. Thank you, India. That's a great idea. Chair, write that down.
We want a community space.
That's right. In one sentence. All this stuff up around here.
Indiana, we are partners with Columbia University in many forms. They do some of the surveys for our clients. I speak to the first year doctors and dentists every semester before they come in. We have the Department of the Policy and Population working with us in research. Columbia University has made so many promises to our neighborhood that at this point, I'm dealing with individuals and not institutions.
Yeah,
because the institution does not really move. The individuals do. So I am with you. I would say that if we could put pressure and just remind them of what they had said they would promise, that'd be wonderful. I asked them directly. I said, I need, as a community organization that you partner with, I need a space. Do you have anything? They said nothing. They don't have anything available. They did offer spaces for meetings, like so a classroom, you could meet in a classroom, but nothing permanent, nothing that they're gonna help in endeavors. So I do believe that it's a moment of like either you're as a population, as citizens or residents of this city, we need to hold our ground and really unite and have people just be held to their word.
Right.
Somehow. Like, if you're gonna tell me that you're gonna build an apartment building for 200 units and 50 of them are gonna be in affordable, then list them. And I wanna know how many of them are taken and who's applying and where do I go and apply? Or not me personally, but where do a person go and apply and what are the qualifications? I don't know if you've seen the latest Instagram little reel that our borough president put out of a new building that's happening, which
Water
I was very
Street?
excited in Water Street, all the way downtown. So, there is a matter of like, there is action, they're trying to do it. I think that it is a matter of like us holding them to their.
That's the only thing I liked about the city AS. The plan to take these office buildings
That
that
are
are empty and convert them into apartments.
They should
I
be.
agree with that, but the way they're gonna divvy up apartments and.
Oh, who knows how they do the
And-
process, that's a different.
And one of the things that you may recall, Tanisha, one of the things we pushed back on quite hard was around the understanding communities. And that bit that we talked about, the multi-generational households, especially in our community.
Oh my goodness.
No.
These kids gotta get out.
But then you also have families where, they don't feel comfortable sending their families
don't
to
want
nursing
to.
homes, so they keep them at
That's
home
me,
with them.
yeah.
Multi-generational.
And so we also need, apartments. When we see these apartments on Housing Connect, it's like a studio or one bedroom. I was like, that doesn't reflect the realities of how people live in these
And
in our
these
communities,
developers only wanna create studios in one bedroom.
That's
Yeah,
right.
what happened to the two? What happened to the four? Like,
Exactly.
people have
They
big
maximize
families.
the AFAR.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
wanna make money off of us. We don't appreciate it.
And it's not us moving in these apartments. That's a whole nother conversation. It's not us.
Oh, then they look at you like you don't belong in the neighborhood.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I just went petitioning, so I'm a little jaded.
Marshall, John, just want to check if you have, I know Marshall, you don't feel too well, but John, I'm not sure if you wanted to also kind of come into the conversation or add anything.
Yeah, like for example, I got into mine via the lottery, and
Oh, good.
yeah, trust me, I got lucky. No, I have to pay like I think 70 or 80% of my income just to still kind of live here.
You
Oh
are
my
70
God.
to 80?
Yeah, because it's like $3,000.
What?
Lord.
Like,
And that's affordable, according to them,
I mean,
right?
You're, John, you're above.
And you
the
got into
threshold.
it by the lottery?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's Chair, I
crazy.
feel like
Is that
it's
a 5-bedroom apartment
I
you're
feel like
living
it's a
in?
scam.
No, it's just technically 1.5, but like it's a 2-bedroom apartment, but it kind of feels like 1.5. It only has like one closet and stuff.
That's what
Yeah,
they do, that's what they do. It's crazy. And then
Wow.
the other issue that we also have, so it's not just these new buildings, but then we have warehousing. where we have landlords that
ma'am.
are not, they have empty apartments and refuse to actually put them on the rent.
No.
Put them up for rent.
And they don't want people with vouchers.
Right.
They don't want people with they want straight cash nowadays. It used to be you had,
If
a
they had vouchers,
subsidy.
they
They
would
was like
welcome
out
you.
because they knew that was guaranteed money.
Consistent.
They don't trust the government no more.
And so the other end of it for me is that I'm a housing attorney. And so
Sorry,
I deal with
sorry,
the
one second.
eviction
John,
cases
go ahead.
and I do the affirmative litigation for folks. And I see
Yep.
these landlords, especially up here, they're trying to push everyone out to the rent stabilized apartments
Yep.
as quickly as possible. They just harass them, do all sorts of stuff, and then they just warehouse those apartments and they never go on the market ever. And they get a vacancy. Well, you can't, I don't think you can destabilize them anymore. But then like they keep pushing them until Hochul is willing to like redo the HSTPA. So it's very real.
So that they
don't
not
wanna-
rent stabilized no more.
It's crazy.
Well, no. So one way they were trying to get it destabilized was the Frankensteining, but then they made that illegal. I think last year's budget, they were trying to get her to change the law in such a way so that they could have a way to destabilize them again, rather than them being perpetually rent stabilized. So she didn't cave, but it, she could go, given this arrow, she could go all the way to the right and not really care about that. So who knows? Who knows what kind of deal she's gonna make later on down the line? But I'm not have to be a doomer.
Election year.
It's definitely necessary. We gotta advocate. We gotta push because nobody else is gonna push for us. If I
That's
want
it.
to have another child now, I don't know. Probably just all of us share one room, or just have
That's
lots of
horrible.
services to get older. So
Yeah,
It's too
it's-
much. Too much. We got bunk beds in the living room. It's too much. You can't breathe. All these children.
On that note, I'm gonna say thank you.
Thank you. We'll be in
Thank you very
touch.
much. Thank
I
you.
really,
Thank you, John.
this is my first time in
Marshall.
person. You really
Good.
made my meeting.
I got the energy.
I'm usually on there
I
with
got
them.
it.
No,
Thank you so
thank you
much.
so much.
And
Really
I
appreciate it.
look forward to.
I have your
connecting
information.
and-
I'll share it.
She's
Is it
gonna
okay
share
if
a
I
whole
share
bunch
it?
of stuff with you.
Please, that'd
Is
be
that
so
okay if I
great. Yeah,
share your email with the
definitely.
committee?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make sure to do that
Yeah.
as well.
Thank you again.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful evening, and I hope
You
the rest of the
too.
conversation is as fun as
Yes.
this one.
Thank you. I was gonna say, I think we're almost done. No, thank you. Okay, so then, moving on, thank you again, Walter, and, hopefully this is the start of a relationship.
Yes,
and
definitely.
a
If I haven't
collaboration.
left now, I don't think I'm leaving.
I feel a resolution coming on.
Do you wanna make a proposal?
What, with new
Just a couple
business,
things.
yeah, it's a couple of things for me.
Okay,
I have
okay, do
new
you wanna hold it for new
business.
business then?
Yeah.
And then we talk about it then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Monthly updates from electeds. We do not have any electeds
Yeah,
online, so we don't have anything. To your point, Tanisha,
Can we send him a letter?
I think we need to send them something. I emailed them and
What do
they're
you
like,
think? What do
sometimes
y'all
you come-
think online? That we need to send our elected officials letters and ask why they haven't been here on
yeah,
these
it's the
serious
election year. The
human
primary is coming up in June. You're right.
services and housing issues.
Yep,
They got teams. I mean, what you doing?
yep. And what we can, I mean, I'm happy
The only
to,
time I see people is at the general
at the
meeting.
general meeting, they're supposed to come here as
I
well.
want to talk to chair. We need a resolution or something.
Do we want a resolution on this? Or is it an email from me and I
An
copy
email.
everyone on?
An email
everyone?
first.
Yeah.
I feel like an email first. But I'm talking about like a bigger resolution just for the community board. Maybe I'll bring it up at the general meeting that we as a community board. Can we do that? As a community board, write a reso, to our
Probably
elected
not.
officials?
Probably
Like,
have to come from maybe executive.
whereas, yeah, okay.
From
Bring it up there.
executive, bring it up there and say,
Whereas you are supposed to be here every month to give us reports. Whereas we have no housing, whereas we have no health care, whereas.
do they come to youth and education? Do they come to youth and education?
No. This is what I'm saying. They haven't been coming, they used to come.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, that's what I'm saying, like, and
Or
you
at
know,
least
I go
send
to
a note or
other
something,
things, like
yeah.
I'm clearly at public safety every
Mhm.
month. And sometimes, we just had the whole thing with the precincts wasn't
Lisa
coming.
wasn't showing up.
And you
exactly, I was
see,
gonna
we
say
had to put a
that.
little pressure on them, and they
All of a
making
sudden,
sure that they're coming. So we,
Mhm,
but Jocelyn, she's always there. Okay.
Yeah. Just
Shout out to our DA.
I like that.
But yeah, I think it's a bigger conversation. So I will bring it
Bring it
up
up in
at the
exec.
exec
Please do.
board because
We're not the only committees experiencing that.
I mean, we're trying to do our job here, and I feel like a lot of questions that the community asks us, we can't answer them because we're not getting the answers from our elected officials.
And in the 3-4 minutes that they have in the general meeting, that's not enough to really kind of delve into and tell us a little bit
and we
more. How
need
can we help?
answers.
And then building on that is there have been a couple times I've noticed where they're having events on housing or on human services, and
We don't even know.
we don't know. They didn't even say, "Hey, community board, you want to, we're doing this. Do you want to get involved? Do you want to help?" It's like, come on, we're here. We're supposed to. It's a partnership,
And I don't appreciate for the last 2 months that at our general meeting they're not saying nothing about what's going on at the the federal level. Like I feel like our elected officials, our state and city elected officials, have to really stand up. And they gotta tell us something. Like, what's the plan? We don't got a plan. Like, how can we help you help us survive? For lack of a better word, like,
Yep.
I just think it's a respect thing. I mean, we work hard and don't get no money.
I was gonna
because
say, we're
we
all
love our
volunteers.
community.
We're
You know what I'm saying?
volunteers here.
So there was just answers that we could not give, sir, because
we don't have the information.
we don't know.
I hear you. Thank you. Okay, so I'll take that away as an action item. And then what I'll do is I'll copy all of you, so that you're on it as well.
Yeah. Gotta do better.
Monthly updates from CBOs, don't have any either. So again, and I think I'd share this, what I did was I created a list of the community-based organizations that are in the community I used it off of the community board list, the resource guide that we have. Recognize it's not completely including everything, but then I've also tried to kind of add, so I normally send out an email to them, by the way, here's our meeting, please come and join us, we'd love to have you, we have a standing item, even if it's, pop in for 10 minutes and talk about an event you have, come join us.
Right, on Zoom.
Yeah, even on Zoom, exactly, but no one here today. Old business, I want to talk a bit about Rent Guidelines Board again. I sent everyone the link to the recording from the meeting last year. I hope you all had a chance to watch it, where Adang, he is the tenant, he's a tenant, and he's with Legal Aid Society. And he joined us and kind of talked through like how it works and so on and so forth. It's a really good resource, even though it's from last year. So do take a look at that if you haven't. I also sent everyone the links for the meetings. They probably had one today, I think. I know they had one last week. That was the first start of it. I wasn't able to watch it, but let's engage. One of the things why it's especially important is we always normally put forward a resolution on it as well for May. So do get involved, do follow those meetings, because between now and May, which is probably when we're going to start hearing the preliminary numbers.
It needs to be zero.
What did I say? Rent freeze. I think last year we asked for a rollback. I think that's what we asked for from the resolution, if I recall correctly. I'll see if I can pull it up and circulate it. But
a rent freeze is the floor.
So because it's
the
ridiculous.
But again, this is an election year, so
and this is an election year.
You might be able to push the mayor a little bit to
I don't know, he might be feeling vengeful.
even if it's just 1 year. Well, yeah.
He is. He is.
Independent.
Because he's an independent now. Okay.
But I think the point that you're both mentioning about it being an election year, we do need to hold these candidates and participate in these forums.
Right. I
And
can't be
ask
on
these
anything
hard
by myself.
questions,
Me too,
because
Yeah.
we need to. So, okay. I think that was the only thing I had for old business. New business.
New business.
One quick thing,
Oh,
I'm
Indiana got
so
some.
sorry.
Sorry, for old business or new business?
It's new business, I think. I
Okay,
am on the land use on the land use committee, and we met yesterday. And Wayne, who chairs that meeting, has I can send it to you guys, but he shared a link with the land use committee and has said that he shared it with all of the other committee chairs in the past, but he would like us to like send a reminder, basically. It's about
okay.
the inwood rezoning and
Mhm.
looking at the list of things that were promised
Mhm.
when that agreement was made, and then trying to see like, do we have follow-up questions?
Mhm.
Do you have
Mhm.
any concerns about like, oh, you guys said you were gonna do X, Y, and Z, like, but we haven't seen that yet. And so
Yep.
he's hoping if we can just like remind all our committees, and then in the next like 2 weeks or so to send any questions or concerns about that list his way.
Mhm. To him directly
Yes,
or to the relevant agencies? Is he like coordinating this?
yes, exactly.
Okay. That's really helpful. I'm trying
Do
to,
we have the
sorry.
list?
So we do have, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Indiana.
Go ahead. If not, I can send the link your way, but I do think that he said that it was shared a while back with some of the committee chairs.
Yep. Sorry. So I am pulling up, there's a really, I'm trying to remember
What's all that noise on?
I hear it too. What's going on? Sorry, there's like a lot of like,
Yeah,
a lot of
same
noise.
here.
You doing something? There's a, the link is escaping me. There's a website
Yeah.
that the city pulled together, and it's like it's pretty interactive. And I think I've shared it before with the committee a while ago. I haven't really followed up on it, but
It's the NYC rezoning commitments tracker.
maybe that's it. Yep.
Indiana, can you send it to us?
Yep, I'm putting it in the chat right now, and I can send it via email as well.
Thank you.
The final thing, kind of like piece of information that Wayne had said is, and this was something that I had noticed too whenever we're looking through that some of the commitments say things like ongoing, and the description of what they're doing is like very vague, or this was completed, right? Or there's, like we did this, right? But we don't have detail about what is the ongoing effort, like, are you counting, we talked to 2 people about XYZ opportunity as like an ongoing effort when really what we need is like substantial resources put towards outreach and engagement. Things like
Yep.
that. So any kind of notes or questions that you've got, like that is helpful too.
Yes. So
That's
thank you so much for raising that. Yes, I did share this a while ago with all of you, but this is what Indiana's talking about now. The Inwood rezoning happened. It was passed in August of 2018, and as Indiana mentioned, there were kind of a list of commitments, kind of these big buckets of work. So housing, open space, community resources, transportation infrastructure, and economic workforce development.
But they said we're gonna get all of that with the rezoning.
That was part of it, and that was in 2018. Now, obviously, kind of within it, there were kind of different things. I know the Eliza was part of it, so that has been completed. So the Inwood Library. So you'll see here, for example, the Inwood Library, that was part of the.
And how many
rezoning plan.
units is the Eliza? Like 170?
174.
Is there a way that we can, I'm sure there's a way that we can get data on how many houseless people we have in Washington, right?
I've asked for, not on that particular number, but we probably can. We can ask, Carmen's office to help us with that, with DHS.
Because if we knew the amount of people that needed housing in our area, wouldn't that make us better able to see how much housing we actually need? I figure like that would be a no-brainer, but I'm not HUD or nothing, but.
I think there's a couple.
I think
of
Marshall
things
has
that-
something to say. Marshall, you got something to say? No?
You muted?
He said,
Yeah,
"Nah, I'm
no,
just
no, yeah,
listening."
no, keep an eye.
Just
'cause I
listening
can't see.
intently.
You can see the screen, right? Yeah, it looks like I'm still sharing it. So yeah, this is the inward rezoning tracker, and like in it, you'll see there's kind of things that they said they as the city
In
would
process,
do.
ongoing.
Exactly. The other thing is, obviously, this was done before COVID, so at the time, they were like, there's a lot of, delays and
started.
things like that because of, COVID and so on and so
We're gonna
forth.
use COVID.
That's what they were doing, but obviously,
Preservation.
yep, so there's
And
a whole bunch of
building.
stuff here. This is the
Help
neighborhood
community
pillars,
organizations acquire rent stabilized buildings through the neighborhood playlist program.
Mhm.
Oh.
there's tons of stuff in here.
So Chairperson, if you scroll to number 19 and 20, right? Like still 19 has some dates and some numbers, but 20
Some
is
of
just,
it's not updated. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, it just says something like very vague, right? Like incentivize the development of deeply affordable housing that exceeds minimum MIH requirements. And it says done with ongoing work, timeline going. And then it's just like a one sentence kind of description, right? Like that's not informative to us. Like tell us how many developers did you talk to?
Exactly.
Did any of those developers, even just one, decide to move forward with an initiative? Like that's the kind of information I think would be helpful. And it's just, we're not getting it.
No, 100%. When does he want this by?
So he had asked us to try and get everything to him in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. So can I ask, and this is, I guess, I cannot do this by myself, so please, committee members. We'll send the link, take a look, and send questions, and then we can compile them and send them to
I feel
Wayne.
like I'm gonna have a whole bunch.
So,
And Chair, I'm happy to commit to help compiling them since I'm on the land use committee.
Our work session,
okay,
right?
that would be awesome, thank you. So Indiana said
Why
that
you gave me a
she's,
headache just looking at it?
Indiana agreed to, help collate them. And maybe Indiana for
Indiana,
ease.
can you like point us to the real problematic ones?
all of the above.
Yeah.
Because the Eliza 179 units, and people was ready to, fight over the Eliza. It's just, listen,
And there's
it's just not enough.
them.
Listen, people want to have a home.
Yeah. Okay.
That's-
Yeah.
that's
So what I'll do
amazing.
is I will
It's a
email
human
the
right.
link
Just
and
like
maybe
water.
a little description of what information.
Yep.
And maybe
So
I'll do a Google document. Maybe.
that's what I was gonna suggest, exactly, a Google Doc, so that way it's no one's like, like clogging up your inbox, but at least everyone has the link, and then they can just drop their questions in there if they have questions,
Great. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for raising that, so maybe what we can do is, Indiana, once you make the Google link, or I don't know, I guess you'll do like whether it's a doc or an Excel, whatever, just send it to me, and then I can circulate it with the committee along with the rezoning tracker.
Okay, perfect. I will try and do that. If I can't do it tonight, I'll have it to you by tomorrow.
Okay, not a problem. Awesome. Tanisha, new business.
Yes. So I think that we should write a resolution on this topic. I don't know, the PPL, the new statewide fiscal intermediary for New York consumers directed personal assistant program, CDPAP. So you know how we have the healthcare workers who can be in your family now, like Freedom Care, Home Care. Well, your governor wants them all to go over to this, which is a government entity, and there are a lot of issues with it. The consumers, that would be the people who need help, have to go on here, sign up. Their home attendant has to sign up.
Give me 1 second. Hold on. I just want to share my screen, so that way I just lost the
Leave
thing.
stuff alone.
They could follow along. with us.
Yo, Kathy,
Okay. Can you see the screen?
this
Yep, okay,
thing,
go ahead.
it is causing so much havoc in our communities where we have home attendants unsure about how this is going to go, and we have people who need services unsure about if they're going to get services. So even if you sign up and do everything that you're supposed to be doing, community members are getting calls telling them they didn't do something right. We have elected officials asking Kathy to put a hold on this process because they don't have the infrastructure to build it out. If you call the number, you're online, you're on the phone for 15 minutes listening to that horrible elevator music, and then they hang up on you. It's an 833 number. They already having issues with other people scamming and calling and using, instead of 5346, they're calling people from 5356. It's a whole mess. So I am asking for us to, I'll try to build it out, to start working on a resolution to make sure that our home attendants don't lose their jobs, and that the people who need home attendants, who, you know, enjoy having someone close to them, be the ones to take care of them, don't lose their services.
So just a question of clarification. The issue is that the state is now kind of pushing for them to kind of register with this platform, and this platform is just like not working. It has all these issues.
It's not, the infrastructure is not built out.
Okay.
They don't have the team, they don't have the people who they need to work, but they're harassing people, sending them telephone messages. The healthcare companies is calling them like, did you register? Did you register? Did you?
So did the state give them like a deadline to register on this thing?
It was supposed to be the 29th.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's still,
Still
it
so
hasn't, because, but now people are in limbo.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I know someone who worked for Freedom Care, like Freedom Care just like shut off their phone line.
Oh, wow.
Because they're like taking the power from the agencies, and she's trying to hold it in her government's hands. And through this site, this is all New York State. If you go back up, you see the New York State thing. They want to be the ones that get the timesheets. You know, you have to do the timesheets. They want to be the ones to get that, and then then have you access what's the word I'm looking for? Give the authority to get you paid. Authorize your payment.
The payments.
Through the state.
Through the
Yes.
state. So-
Through this thing right here.
So just another clarifying question. Aside from, which is really bad, they don't have enough people, they don't have the infrastructure. If they had enough people and if they had the infrastructure, are people still against this system? Just talk a little bit about that.
People don't understand why it has to change.
Okay.
It was working perfectly fine. And you know, it's been a couple of things like the parking. That's another, we in Housing and Human Service. A lot of people who have been coming to this neighborhood, who have lived in this neighborhood, who have worshiped in this neighborhood for decades can no longer do that because they're getting parking tickets outside of their house of worship. That's Kathy. So there's a lot of things that she's doing where she's really just like oblivious to the effects that it's going to have on our communities. Like literally, like the buses are going by taking pictures of the cars, like
Yeah.
Here, I can
because they're losing parishioners. That's another thing we need to write a resolution. I think the
Hold on, yeah, I'll come to you in a
transportation
minute.
wrote one,
Did they?
but it was, I think, a particular church. We need to write it for
Yeah.
all the places of worship.
Indiana, before I go to you really quickly, have you spoken to Steve about this?
Oh no,
Okay.
Steve would love it, right?
Well, we need to, this
A
would definitely
joint
be one
resolution?
joint resolution, so that would
Yeah.
be my thing.
I think Indiana knows
Indiana?
what's going on too.
I was just gonna say, so again, I'm a wheelchair user and I am part of this amazing group, and I'm happy to get the chance to elevate their work right now. It's called Women on Wheels. And there's like events that the organization plans, and they also have like weekly meetings on Zoom. And I've been hearing a lot about some of the like on the ground impact that this would have. So one of the changes is that right now, Medicaid recipients could potentially have a member of their family or their household do some of these services and receive payment for their work. And so now like this change in the program kind of limits, so like it can't be a spouse, even if you're doing all that work. If you're a parent, you can't receive funding to do those services for your child if they're under a certain age. So it's like limiting who can access this funding, in addition to the bureaucratic problems about, signing up, and there's like language access issues and things like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of concern because this is actually a way that a lot of family members who are doing that work anyway.
Yeah,
kind
get a
of-
couple of dollars.
Exactly.
No, thank you for that added thing. So my question
Thank
is,
you, Indiana.
what are we asking for in the resolution? What are we calling for?
What are we calling for? We want efficient services, efficient services. It's after what time? My brain. But we want to be able to access the services. You know what I'm saying? Through this new platform, which people can't. Whereas go ahead, Indiana, help me out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think like some of the kind of big picture asks would be not to restrict like eligibility of who can provide these services. I think that's been the biggest one, at least that I've heard in the group of women that I interact with, is like, we have people, like we can set the schedules, we can, we have the ability to decide who comes, what kind of services they help with, that allows, whether it's a family member or somebody else, that you kind of like have more control over the assistance that you're receiving. And I think one kind of side piece to that, right, is like, as a wheelchair user, it gives you more control over your care.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so important, right? Like, I think that
And you want someone who cares about you, okay?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these home attendants, honey, I'm not saying nothing against home attendants. I'm just saying that it's just been working, and I just don't. It's not fixed. Whereas it's not broke, so why are we fixing it? We can't do that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, she's causing with everything else that we got going on. This one little thing that was okay, that was actually helping people, she wants to control. And the way that she wants to control it is without the resources, and then cut out organizations like Freedom Care that were doing it. And then you got, then Medicaid and Health First and whoever else you have is calling you every day like, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? And you can go on here, you can register and everything, and they'll still call you and be like, well, we haven't been authorized.
So it sounds like the resolution would be calling for three things. One is to appropriately staff this new entity, right?
Yeah.
And improve, or ensure that there's sufficient infrastructure to handle the influx of calls, and so we can obviously
And it's
work on the
switching
language
over.
and all this.
Yes.
Then the second would be ensuring proper language access, all those bits and pieces. The second would be calling to not restrict the
That's right.
eligibility of the person giving the care. So allow that the person receiving the care make that decision. So kind of like a people-centered approach.
The consumer. They call them consumers.
They call the consumer.
The consumers, like
That's a
not
terrible word.
limit this consumer's choice of who can provide their care.
Exactly. And then I think there was the third one, which you said, partnerships with existing organizations that have already been doing this work.
Exactly.
And ensuring that they're a central part of this process because they understand how it works, right? So it sounds like three asks.
Yeah, what's wrong with her? Is 2026 here yet? Because she's getting primaried, and I'm here for it.
I will say one other thing from personal experience. When I became a wheelchair user, I was able to, I was still employed, so I wasn't Medicaid eligible, but I was able to get home health services approved for like a short window of time initially. from the time that you call to when somebody is actually available to come, there was a huge gap. And
Mm.
not to be like too, like personal, I feel something like being able to have a family member who's already there with you,
Yes.
work with you,
Come out the room. Help
makes
me.
a huge difference. And my sister had actually brought up this option of like, well, I'm here, I'm helping you, like maybe I can take some time off of work and this could help me cover my costs. And because I wasn't a Medicaid recipient, I wasn't eligible, but that is the kind of thing that would have really helped me and that really helps a lot of families, even to fill that gap while you're learning how, like all the assistance that you need and while you're getting settled in. So it just, from like a on the ground perspective, it really
A lived experience perspective.
process where there
Ensuring no
should
gaps in service
yeah.
from when, a consumer needs care to actually receiving it, that there's
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah.
Okay. Tanisha, would
I
you like
wonder
to
why
draft
people
this?
is mentally.
There's so much happening.
I
There's
guess.
so much happening. Would you like to draft this? I'm assuming that's a yes. Well, do the draft and then we can circulate it and then we can all kind of like fill in.
India, you wanna?
Yeah, I'll help.
Thank you.
Okay, so I read it down. I wrote it down here. So again, it sounds like 4 asks now. So 1, it's appropriately staffing this new system, this CD PAP or however they're calling it. That it has sufficient staff, it has sufficient infrastructure to
Another
support.
acronym we got.
The consumers, their providers, so on and so forth. 2, not to restrict the eligibility of who can provide the care and allow consumers to make that decision. We know, they should be the ones knowing who they should want to receive care from. Ensuring that organizations already in this work are central in this, new program, that they're really kind of a key component of it and then ensuring no gaps in service, that with this, ensuring that from when someone calls or when someone is receiving or needing care, that there's not, however long of a gap, that there's something there to support them throughout the process.
What was number 3?
The organizations.
Oh.
Yeah, and we can, we'll make it, fluff out the words and stuff. So if you both can work on that, what I'll do is I'll email Steve and copy you both. And you say, look, this is a point that Tanisha raised, the committee would like to put this forward.
And maybe
Is this
agent
something
would
that-
like to do be on that too.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion as well, yeah, to add, I'll copy
They
Mary.
have their meetings at 10:30 in the morning, honey. I'll be trying.
It's hard for me to
I've
make
been able
those.
to not. Yeah, I can't make them. But I think this would be good for them too, because it's going to affect
Yep,
our disabled community and our aging
yep,
community.
exactly. So can I then ask, so we don't necessarily have a draft in front of us, but what we have done in the past for these types of things is we would want it to be voted, I would imagine, at the general meeting later this
Executive.
month. We can have a draft for executive, but the committee in some instances, the committee has voted on resolutions, just knowing what kind of the resolves are. And then obviously if people decide to change their vote, they can. So if we can take a committee vote on this. So again, Tanisha is proposing that the committee puts forward a resolution talking about the New York Consumer Directed Personal Assistance Program. We talked about some of the issues, it's, what it's doing regarding, impacting the care that, people with disabilities or our seniors are having and not being able to receive care from, those that they've chosen. And now that they've been pushed to kind of access the system is clearly not working. And so we want to issue a resolution capturing those 4 issues that we talked about. So can we, if all of those in favor of the committee putting forward a resolution on that, if you can just say aye or raise your
Aye.
hand?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, so, good, thank you. So again, we'll look to both of you.
Sophia, who's Sophia? We got somebody on here?
Probably a member of the public. Let me see.
She raised her hand too.
She raised her hand.
Oh, hold on a second. I third that.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
well,
all.
thank you, Sophia.
You
Thank
in
you for
favor?
joining us.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because then I can't see the chat and stuff, and when people put things in the Zoom.
That should be, I was adding a couple of links to just share some information about what the concerns are.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's make sure. Can you reshare them and just click everyone? Because right now it looks like it's only going to host and panelists, so that way our members of the public can also see those. Awesome, thank you. And then Tanisha, I think you had another.
No,
item for
we
new
talked about
business?
that.
There was just this one? Okay, sounds good. So we will do that. Any other items for new business?
What are we doing next month?
So for next month, we
DSS.
are DSS. We're also supposed to have, hold on, let me see if I can. We'll do the resolution for rent guidelines board, because we normally do it in May. There was one other presenter that I think it was, or was this the DSS one? No, this was the DSS one. So what DSS is, it's, they're planning to open a shelter at 1 Wadsworth Terrace in spring 2026. It's a new shelter for 100 families with children, and the operator is Bronx Family Network. So that's why they were meant to come today, and again, they couldn't make it, so they'll be joining us next month. And then there's another organization that wants to present, let me see if I can find the name, where they reached out to us as well, Public Health Solutions, but I need to have a chat with them first. But, and maybe this is something that we can bring Steve in and the Health and Environment Committee as well. So Public Health Solutions, they've identified Community Board 12, or New York State has identified a couple of zip codes within CV12 that indicates a high support for the Medicaid population. And so they have developed a network to kind of benefit these constituents that receive those services. And so it's kind of like just letting them know what kind of work that they do, and they want to present on that, so.
That's great. But back to the resolution, because Indiana just put something in the chat that reminded me. The call is for to delay the turnover, right, Indiana? Because they don't have the infrastructure.
Ideally, it's to not, have the turnover, but if nothing else, to delay.
Okay. And it looks like, thank you, so I'd
We
like
need to put all this in the reso.
Yeah, I'm saying there's stuff
What?
around the budget as well.
Yes, now let that out, because she's trying to, she's trying to do away with this. So if she gets it and it's in the control of state now, you know what I'm saying? It's easier for her to just tear it down. Or, do like they did with WIC and act like they did it. Because I believe this was because of advocacy for the community. Like, why can't we just have the people who live with us get paid a couple of dollars, you know what I'm saying, to do the things that they're going to do anyway?
They're doing anyway, yeah.
So I would like to say that maybe we should change to delay or don't even do it, because people are fine with the services they have the way that it's working now, and this is just a whole headache.
As one
You
of the
see
results.
Alzheimer's, you know what I'm saying, disease and dementia cut eligibility to over 100,000 children, seniors with Alzheimer's disease and dementia, adults with severe developmental, and I'm getting a headache just reading it. She wants to cut services to these people.
Yeah. Impose a 12% cut, pay cut on workers. Erode the basic.
We need
tenets of
all that in
self-direction.
the resolution at this point.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention, because I didn't even know all this was.
It's crazy.
There's
It's so much stuff happening. Like
so much.
you have to pace yourself. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to advocate for this today, and then Tuesday I'm going to do this, and then Wednesday I'm going to.
That's
Crazy.
the
I'm a
state of the
professional
world that we
volunteer
are.
at this point.
You spend more time volunteering than I do on my actual job. I was like, The problem
For the
here.
community. Cause what's going on, Chair? But yeah, I think that would be great for us to write that and get it passed. And then it's something I'm very adamant about, something that our administration doesn't do that I want us to start doing is when we write resos, we should send it to all other community boards in Manhattan and encourage them to pass it too. Why aren't we doing that?
Please bring that up at executive.
I did last month.
Bring it up again.
Yeah. I asked Paula for a list of who are these people? We need to be, if we came
We need
together
more.
on a whole bunch of stuff that affect our neighborhoods collectively, I mean.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just writing down because sometimes what happens, I mean, sometimes I get the link, so when we get the recording of the meetings,
Oh,
I don't always, so I'm just writing it down so that way I don't lose it. And what I'll do is I'll send that in an email to Steve and Mary, and then I'll copy both of you.
Okay.
That's okay, and
Mhm.
that's since you both kind of know more about it and they're kind of pushing this forward.
Horrible. Leave us alone. We like it the way it is.
Okay, got it. Oh, got that. All right, thank you. Anything
We don't
else
love
for new
But
business?
they like it. Chair, I feel like that was a whole lot for
That
new
was a
business.
lot. That was a lot.
But all the
But all good
attendees got
stuff.
their hands up, like
I'm checking.
Okay.
I don't see anything.
lower all hands. Why I say that? Lower all attendee hands at the bottom.
No one has their hands up.
Oh, okay.
It's always an option.
Oh, all
If
right.
they raise their
Just
hand,
wanna
then you
make
see a little
sure,
hand. No,
you know,
no,
we
I
give
hear
it a
you.
public
100%.
Chance to
100%.
speak if they want to speak.
Yep, 100%. I guess just the other thing, which I shared with all of you, I am not reapplying for the community board. I decided not to reapply for the community board.
What about housing? No, ma'am. I'm looking at Indiana.
I'm looking at Indiana too. Indiana.
Your chair, vice chair. I'll still be on here. But, you know, they done already gave me too many responsibilities.
I'm honestly, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I'm going to miss it like so much.
You can always come back
Listen.
afterwards. You'll still be on the path.
Yeah, we'll miss you too, honestly.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot, and I feel like I'm not. It's a lot. And that's also unpaid. So.
And the time.
And the time.
Consuming.
That is time consuming. It feels like a whole job.
No, thank you.
But it's an honor to
is.
serve, and it's
And
you
you
know.
guys
I'm to have you on here from up here.
Um,
And I know
So-
you, so I can always call you Legolas.
yes, exactly. Who knows? Maybe I'll ask Kathy. Maybe I'll put in an application to be a public member and join Marshall in the public member crowd.
All right.
That'd be great.
Easy a lift.
All right. So with that, just thank you, everyone. It's honestly, I know we'll still have the meeting next month. I'm not going anywhere just yet. But it's honestly been a pleasure working with all of you, learning from all of you. Like I've learned so much, and really just like really humbled to be in a space with people who care about their community and are doing things every day for their community and kind of raising their voices. So really, thank you. I really mean that.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
With that, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Can I get a motion to adjourn
Motion.
the meeting?
Second.
I don't even finish the sentence. Trying to get out of here too now. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Marshall, feel better. Thank you.
Feel better,
Take
Marshall.
care. Bye.
Bye, Indiana. Talk to you later.
Bye.